Hello. Today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. Here is your daily signal. According to Fortune, U.S.-Iran negotiations around reopening the critical Strait of Hormuz are advancing, as President Trump plans to sign a deal with Iranian officials this Sunday in Muscat, Oman. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital maritime artery for global oil exports. Approximately 20% of the world's shipped oil transits through it. Historically, escalations in the U.S.-Iran conflict have threatened shipping security, leading to international concern and intensified negotiations, especially after high-profile tanker seizures in 2019. De-escalation strategies are focused on multilateral arrangements involving Gulf states and allied powers, aiming to maintain freedom of navigation. The U.S. State Department confirmed ongoing talks designed to reduce maritime tensions. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, alongside coalition partners, have increased naval patrols following new tanker threats, as reported by Al Jazeera. British Foreign Secretary David Lammy also stated that UK naval vessels will continue their escort missions for commercial ships in the region, ensuring continued Allied presence. Key stakeholders in these developments include the U.S. government, the Iranian Supreme National Security Council, regional Gulf states, major oil companies like ExxonMobil and Shell, and international institutions such as the United Nations and International Maritime Organization. In the near term, these sustained naval patrols are expected to lower the risk of tanker seizures and promote stable oil exports, while successful negotiations could temporarily reduce tensions and minimize confrontations at sea. However, if a lasting deal cannot be achieved, renewed sanctions and higher freight costs may result, and regional powers may expand their naval capabilities in case U.S. presence diminishes. Next, onto government intervention in artificial intelligence technologies. Business Insider reports the sudden U.S. government ban on foreign use of Anthropic's AI models has sent shockwaves through industry, as Anthropic disables both Fable and Mythos even for its own foreign employees. Government intervention in AI has intensified due to national security and global competition concerns, with export controls on advanced AI chips beginning in October 2022 and targeting companies such as NVIDIA and AMD. These controls are driven by risks that powerful AI could be used for military or surveillance purposes by rival states, prompting tech firms and lobbying groups to adapt supply chains and compliance strategies. On June 16, the U.S. Department of Commerce announced new, expanded AI chip export controls, as cited by Reuters, and NVIDIA stated in compliance filings that over $400 million in new chip orders may be impacted. Bloomberg notes this could sharply reduce quarterly revenues from restricted markets like China. The Semiconductor Industry Association called for clearer dialogue between government and industry, according to TechCrunch. Key government and corporate stakeholders here include the U.S. Department of Commerce, White House National Security Council, NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, and advocacy groups like the SIA. Countries named as targets include China and Russia. In the short term, semiconductor firms are bracing for lower revenues and disrupted global supply chains, with realignments likely as companies seek out secondary markets. Over the medium term, tighter government engagement may yield formalized export control frameworks and reshape international AI standards. Tensions may mount as adversaries accelerate independent AI development and turn to alternative suppliers. Next, let's review the ongoing efforts in developing user interfaces with Rust. Hacker News highlights the current challenges and advancements in building user interfaces with Rust, as new releases attract developer attention. Rust is a systems programming language founded by Mozilla in 2010, known for memory safety and performance. Building UIs in Rust primarily relies on libraries such as Druid, Iced, and Egui. While Rust's strong type system helps prevent bugs, it also presents specific hurdles for UI development, and its frameworks remain less mature compared to those for JavaScript or C#, holding back wider adoption. Mozilla, Druid, and Iced contributors like Ralph Levian and Oscar Blanchard continue to drive open-source progress, while companies such as Microsoft and Dropbox experiment with Rust for internal tools, and MIT and Carnegie Mellon research safe UI approaches. The Iced team has released version 0.11, which introduces new widget support and improves performance. Druid maintainers are pushing for imminent multi-platform support and integration of native widgets, according to their GitHub updates. These improvements could attract more developers in the near term, increasing GitHub activity and visibility in the open-source scene. If companies like Microsoft adopt Rust UI libraries, greater industry standardization and robust cross-platform tooling may follow. On the other hand, the lack of mature connections to popular design frameworks remains a significant barrier for mainstream acceptance, limiting adoption primarily to technical communities. Now, onto the markets. International markets showed mixed performance, with France rising 0.85% and EWQ as a notable mover, while Taiwan fell 2.4% led by EWT. Among gainers, BETA surged over 233%, while GDC dropped nearly 70% as the largest loser. Commodities were mostly lower, with U.S. oil dropping 4.7% and USO posting the sharpest decline. Platinum, represented by PPLT, rose about 2.2%. Top commodity gainer was PPLT and USO led losses. In the favorites category, AMD declined by 7%, the largest move among key names, while Apple saw a modest increase of 0.95%. Microsoft, represented by MSFT, finished lower by 1.48%, and ARM was down 3.9%, while Intel, Inc., dropped by 8.45%. In sectors, semiconductors slumped 5.9%, with SOX as the top mover, while finance climbed nearly 1.5% thanks to XLF. Clean energy fell 2.9%, with QCLN as the primary mover. That's it for today. You can find more news and details on our website. Goodbye.